So before we get started, I just wanted to show you a quick video of the game running on the Steam Deck with all of the mods enabled that we're going to be covering. As you can see, it runs at a smooth 60 frames per second, and that's with recording software running on the Steam Deck as well. So obviously runs very, very well. So yeah, here it is. And I also wanted to give you guys an idea on just how big this map is with all the add-ons and expansions added. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, look at the size of this. There's so much like to cover. There's so much kind of areas to drive. It's just, it adds a whole new element to the game. Lots of different unique surroundings and environments to explore. So definitely recommend getting these free add-ons, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So before getting into the tutorial, I just wanted to summarize what each of these mods is. So starting with Rusmap, as the name suggests, it's a map mod that expands the Euro Truck Simulator 2 map to include Western Russia and Belarus. So as I'll get into in a moment, this does require all of the available Euro Truck Simulator map expansions to be purchased in order for it to work. So you have to buy all of the official Euro Truck Simulator 2 map DLC expansions in order to get Promods and the European expansion and Rusmap to work, as well as all the other ones that I'm covering. This is because it uses all of the assets that are brand new in those DLC packages. So you will need to go ahead and download all of those, which I will cover in the video. But anyway, moving on to the next one in the list, Promods. Obviously, it expands Europe, as the name suggests, and same with the Middle East. And the Great Step is another expansion. I won't go into too much detail about those because I've summarised what those do in the first example. So anyway, getting into the tutorial now. So here's a bit of an index on what the video is going to contain. The first part is preparing and prerequisites. This is talking about the Steam Deck, what you need in order to get ready to add the mods, and any information that's relevant to that. Second part, we're going to talk about Proton and briefly touch on DirectX 11 and Linux versions and what the difference is and why you need to stick with forcing Proton compatibility. Then we're going to cover downloading the correct version of the mods. This is, a mix of dodgy files out there. You want to make sure you're getting the right ones. Then we're going to talk about how to put these files in the correct location. You'd think that would be simple, but on the Steam Deck, which we'll get into in a moment, it can be quite tricky. Next, we're going to talk about adding the connector that connects different regions, so you can drive to and from them. Then we're going to talk about a fix for the map, as it can occasionally crash on people's computers because the map is that big, or Steam Decks. Then we're going to talk about mod order, then graphics settings, and then answer a few FAQs that people, commonly ask about the mods and how it all works on the Steam Deck. So first of all, the obvious one, you're going to have to download and buy Euro Truck Simulator 2. If you don't own this already, then I don't know why you're watching this video, but they regularly go on sale, the game and the DLCs. So you could wait for a sale or you could buy it because it's definitely worth the money. Anyway, you're going to need to buy the game, like I said, and all of these DLCs that are on the screen in front of you at the moment. Like I briefly mentioned in the summary, the reason for this is because it uses all of the assets from these DLCs. They do add new kind of asset content into the game that these third-party expansions use, so you will need them as a requirement. Right, I'll try not to focus on this too long because it can be quite boring, but there's a Linux version of Euro Truck Simulator, but it doesn't perform as well as the Proton version on the Steam Deck. So just trust me, go with the Proton version, and you'll want to force compatibility for Proton and get it to use either Proton Experimental or the most recent version of Proton that you've got. And then what will happen is when you have done that and you go to launch the game, it's going to give you the option of whether to launch it by default or use DirectX 11, 64-bit, OpenGL, blah, blah, blah. What you're going to want to do, you need to launch it with DirectX 11 64-bit. This is just, I won't go into all of the boring details, but this is the best performing version of the game in terms of performance on the Steam Deck. And you're going to need to do that for the next part that we're going to cover. So for this part, you're going to want to switch over to desktop mode on the Steam Deck. And yeah, this is where the fun part happens. It can be quite difficult trying to locate the right directory for the mod folder. There's multiple different kind of like areas where it could be, but if you're forcing Proton and you've done everything that I've told you to, then you should be able to find your directory at this following location. So browse to this location, and you want to make sure that the last folder there in the description that I've got on screen, that mod folder you'll have to create and you'll need to name it mod. And the highlighted in red number, that's the app ID of Euro Truck Simulator 2. So you'll want to browse to that location, create the mod folder, and get ready for the next part. So the majority of these files you're going to be able to download from the Promods website. You can get the Europe expansion, you can get the Great Step, and you can get the Middle East add-on, all from this website. All links will be in the description that I can put in there. So here's the mod order. You'll need to have them in this order in order for them to work. It's a matter of priority and which ones take precedence. So you will see a few extra files here, such as the real company and the real traffic density. Don't worry about that. You won't see them because they're my other mods that I've got. Just make sure the other mods are listed in the following way, just to ensure that it's going to work correctly. The road connector should be at the very, very top. And I just wanted to quickly mention, if you do download the fix that we'll talk about in a moment to do with the map crash, the map crash fix will need to be right at the top of the mod list. So just keep that in mind. So here are my settings that I'm running on the Steam Deck. I pretty much get a lock 60 frames a second using these settings. It's majority of high, a few low things that I've changed to do with preference. But feel free to customize as you want. These are just what I use to give me enhanced visuals and performance. And yeah, it seems to work completely smoothly and reliably. So feel free to use those settings with all of the mods that I've described in the video. So just to try and keep the video as short as possible, there are a few FAQs that people come out with in terms of getting all this stuff to work. One of the common questions is, what happens if Euro Truck Simulator 2 updates and you don't want to lose your save, but you want to keep your mods at the same time? So what you can do is you can go into the beta participation in the settings of Euro Truck Simulator and specify a version. And when you select that version, your game will stay at that version, and all of the mods that are made for that version obviously will still work, and you'll be good to go. When the game does update, if you try and play, depending on the changes that are made, it can show an incompatibility with the mods. So you want to make sure that you keep that in mind about the beta participation if you want to keep the game at a certain version number, so your mods will guarantee to work. So yeah, and another question is about pricing, and if all these are free. These mods are absolutely free to use. Just make sure you use the official links where possible to download them. And that's about it really. So I hope this video was helpful, and yeah, any questions, just drop me a message and let me know how you get on. Thanks for watching.